Warning, this podcast contains themes of extreme violence and murder. Subject matter may be offensive to some listeners. Discretion advised.
Mr. Dotson, would you stand, please? Jesse Dotson, after trial by a jury of your peers, the jury having found you guilty of murder in the first degree of Cecil Dotson Sr., of Marissa Williams, of Hollis Seals, of Shindry Roberson, of Cecil Dotson Jr. II, and of Samario Dotson. And further, the jury having imposed a sentence of death upon you, it's the order of this court that you be taken by the sheriff and remanded to jail, and at the earliest convenience that you be delivered to the warden of the state penitentiary, therein to be confined until March the 2nd of 2012. And on that day that you receive a lethal injection of drugs based upon the laws of the state of Tennessee, sufficient to cause your death. May God have mercy on your soul, sir.
Welcome to another episode of Evil Transgression, your homicide headquarters here in podcasting. I'm your host, Josh, and with me as always, Dustin and Rex.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
You're
Stop.
spunky today.
I'm excited. You're not wearing pants, so I'm excited.
It's no pants record day.
No pants Sunday.
Yeah.
So, welcome in, Evil Mob. One finger up.
1,000 downloads. We
have passed it.
We did it.
We
It's
have
amazing.
Passed it. That is an amazing accomplishment so far. I think
It is.
Mm-hmm.
makes you feel good about what we do.
Real good. Yeah.
Keep them coming, right? Here's to 10,000 more, right?
By next weekend.
That would be sweet.
That would be sweet. Big shout out to the Evil Mob Nation out there that gets us to this point, right? We got probably the best fans in the business,
We do.
Oh, for sure.
hands down. So, special shout out to Courtney, who is probably one of our biggest fans.
Mm-hmm.
Who's been real supportive of us. So we're gonna give her a little love on the episode today. But any order of business, gentlemen?
Not really. What about you?
No.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are always prepared.
I got nothing.
That's awesome.
I'll have more at the end.
You'll have more
Oh,
at the end.
I believe
Yeah,
that.
we have a surprise at the end of this episode for everybody.
A surprise.
A surprise.
I like surprises.
So you have to listen to the whole thing. If you don't, guess what? No surprise for you.
Yeah. Awesome. So,
This is also a another tough episode.
it is. But
So, disclaimer, if you don't like,
violence against children,
yeah, I mean, don't.
we're not going to dive into it like to that extent. So,
Right.
I mean, we're not talking about like some Joseph Duncan stuff, but it's pretty harsh, right?
Yeah.
But all right,
If you
so
don't listen, it is what it is. We'd rather you not if you don't like it.
absolutely.
So,
How you doing, Rex?
Great.
That's awesome. That's good to hear.
You know,
Good to hear.
you ready?
I'm ready. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. On March 2nd, 2008, after receiving a 911 call, police entered 722 Leicester Street to discover a shocking, horrifying scene. The bodies of 9 people lay scattered throughout the home. 6 are dead, 4 adults and 2 children. 3 struggle to survive, all of which are children under the age of 10. 30-year-old Cecil Dotson has been shot 8 times. Once in the head, neck, chest, and right leg, and 4 times in his left leg. His girlfriend, 27-year-old Marissa Williams, has been shot 5 times. They were being visited by their two friends, 33-year-old Hollis Sills and 22-year-old Shindry Roberson. They have been shot 3 and 4 times respectively. In the back bedroom of the home, the dead bodies of 2 of Cecil's children, 4-year-old Samario and 2-year-old Cecil II, are found. Samario suffers severe blunt trauma and a stab wound to the chest. Cecil II is stabbed 7 times, mostly to the head. The 3 surviving children, also Cecil's, are 9-year-old Cecil CJ Jr., 5-year-old Cedric, and 2-month-old Sanaya. CJ had hid in the bathtub for over 40 hours until police arrive on the scene. A 4.5-inch blade is lodged into his skull. Investigators initially believed that it had to be gang violence. A hit being ordered on an entire family, called a blackout, is not entirely unheard of. It is also reported that Cecil has ties to the Gangster Disciples, a local neighborhood gang. But just days after the murder, the police theory was turned on its head when CJ, the 9-year-old who survived the attack, identified the killer responsible, Uncle Junior.
His uncle?
Uncle Junior.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, that's it's pretty twisted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dude shot his brother, and wow.
Well, it's not like he just shot once. I mean, what was the one leg 4 times? And
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna dive into this, but let's
This seems like a bit of overkill.
let's discuss old Uncle Junior himself. Uncle Junior is Jesse Dotson. They referred to him as Junior, so that's how the kids knew him as Junior.
Oh, okay.
Was he a junior?
I'm a junior.
I think that's just how they referred to him because his
Rex,
name
this
is Jesse Dotson.
story isn't about Rex Jr.
Oh, okay. My bad.
You are Junior.
I am.
Dustin should be a junior.
I was almost a junior.
Oh, really?
Thank God I wasn't.
What?
Your dad would have slapped you. I know your dad. He would have slapped
I'd have been Stanley.
you. He'd have slapped you for stealing his name. So Jesse Dotson was born December 19th, 1974. The family moved quite frequently. Dotson was bullied as a child because of what he wore, and he repeated the 4th grade because he didn't go to school.
He failed 4th grade.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
but it was because he was getting bullied and picked on, and
What about his clothes?
they were
Like off
they
brand?
weren't very wealthy. Yeah,
Yeah.
they weren't very wealthy. So, but I mean, at one point, Dotson's grandmother threw him out of her house because he stole money to eat.
Wow.
That's bad.
So they're
Here we go. Back to one of those messed up childhoods.
One of those bad childhoods that's not going to lead down a good path. So, but Dotson's father beat his mother, and she eventually took the children away, and the children never knew where their father went. She just up and packed them up and took off. So, I mean, not a good recipe here. Not a good
Nope.
recipe for a healthy childhood. And things are going to start taking a turn for the worse for Jesse. In 1990, at age 15, Dotson was charged with disorderly conduct for making threats against his mother as she tried to discipline him.
Well, starting with that criminal record early. Seems
Yeah.
like most of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, disorderly conduct at 15 for making threats against your mom, that's,
She tried to beat him.
she's,
I'd have called the
She's
cops
got
on
her
my mom
hands
if she
full,
tried to hit
man.
me too.
you liar.
I'd have been like,
mom.
911, my mom was trying to beat me.
Your mom spanked you religiously. Not enough.
It did not. Yeah, it didn't help.
Not enough.
Whatever, read your
Not
story,
enough.
Josh.
A month later, he was charged with assault. That's also at 15. after a 13-year-old told his parents that Jesse Dotson punched him in the face and threatened to put him in the hospital if the teen didn't bring him $25 the next day.
So he went from being bullied to being the bully.
Yeah.
That was a pretty quick change.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, $25. Dustin, you better bring me my $25 tomorrow.
Got you.
You never brought me that sandwich. PBJ.
You talking about that love sandwich?
Love sandwich. 1 year later, in fall of 1991, police arrested Jesse Dotson for disorderly conduct after his mother told police he came home and wanted to fight his brother. After placing her son in a bedroom, locking the door, Jesse broke the door open and punched several large holes in the wall.
This kid has
anger issue.
So
Yeah.
Jesse, he busts through the door, then points his finger in his mom's face, telling her he's going to end up killing her too. And when the officers arrived, Jesse was loud, angry, wouldn't calm down, and still wanted to end up going after his brother. So they didn't have no choice but to arrest him. So Jesse's starting to get a little out of hand.
Sounds like it.
Jesse drops out of school in the 8th grade at 16 years old.
8th grade at 16.
Yeah.
Just a couple years behind.
Yeah. Isn't 8th grade like 13?
13, 14, I think.
About 12 or 13, I think.
I thought 12 or 13.
No, it wouldn't be 12.
Was 7th grade.
It might be 14. 13, 14.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah.
like 15 is freshman. I
Yeah,
think.
16, sophomore, yeah, license. Yep.
Well, I mean, the 4th grade, he had to repeat that.
I'm just kind of troubled that he is 16. He's driving to middle school. Like, what's up? Y'all trying to go skating after school? I'll drive. Like,
he's a troubled kid, man. Troubled kid. Dropping out in the 8th
I mean,
grade.
he got to be troubled to be 16 in the 8th grade. So.
He's already been arrested twice,
Right.
you know?
You're right. You're right.
Hey, how many 8th graders you know got 2 arrests already? Don't get me started on the juvenile system, man. I'm telling you, hey, the juvenile system, especially in Ohio right now, it's garbage. Garbage. Straighten it up. On December 13th, 1991, 6 days before his 17th birthday, police pulled over a car Dotson was riding in. On the floorboards, an officer saw a 20-gauge sawed-off shotgun and a .38 caliber pistol.
Here it goes.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Here it goes the big boy trouble.
Come on, Jesse. Police charged Dotson again in 1992 with disorderly conduct, following an incident in which Dotson cussed at a neighbor during an argument and then threw 2 beer bottles into her apartment.
Man, there ain't no controlling this guy.
He's off the chain.
He really is.
On January 8th, 1994, Hallie Cox discovered he had bought shavings of soap from 19-year-old Jesse Dotson instead of the drugs he thought he had bought. When Cox confronted Dotson, Dotson shot and killed the man.
What?
Stepped it up. But I'm kind of confused on how you think you buy drugs and it's shavings of soap.
You've never heard that Crazy Bone song, Dummy Man? He does the same thing.
That's crazy.
It is.
Bone.
That's Crazy Bone for you.
It's crazy.
Wow.
That's crazy, Bone.
Look at you.
Crazy Bone.
Yeah.
Throwing some love up to the Cleveland
right.
rap groups.
Faux show.
Crazy Bone. But yeah, I can't figure it out. Shavings of soap. It's probably got to smell like soap, right?
You would think. I mean, does
I mean, even unscented soap has a smell. I always argue that. Like, it's unscented. It smell like soap.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of unscented, I went to Kroger the other day.
Buy deodorant.
I bought deodorant, and I didn't realize it said unscented, and I put it on, and I'm like, why does it smell like this ass? It was terrible.
That was brought to you by
Speed stick.
So, you've never tried to sell it as drugs, though.
I have not. I have not.
So,
So Jesse's already killed somebody.
yeah, Jesse just got his first body.
And see, that's the thing, man. They
19
let these
years
guys
old,
out.
man.
They let these guys out. Like, you murdered somebody.
Well, I mean, 19 years old, buddy. You think he threw his life away there?
Did he? Did he really, though?
Nope, because on May 5th, 1994, police arrested Dotson for the murder. He pled guilty to a lesser charge, second-degree murder, and he spent less than 14 years in state prison.
14 years for murder.
14 years. That
Like-
14 years is still long, but we're talking about murder, man.
It's not long for murder.
No.
Like, you got dudes out here selling drugs doing more than 14 years.
It's not long for murder, but it's a long time. But it's not long for murder.
No.
You understand what I'm saying?
You got drug dealers
Yeah.
doing more time than that.
Yeah.
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 Backwards.
It is.
That's
It
our
is
justice system. That is garbage.
But, here's a little bit of Jesse's problem. During the 14 years Jesse does in prison, he only has one family visit and very few phone calls. So, there's no family support whatsoever. Don't get me wrong. The dude's a murderer. The dude's got issues. But, I mean, that's probably part of his problem. Correct?
What? Nobody loves them?
Yeah, I mean, think about it, dude. You're in prison. 14 years. Yeah, you deserve to be there because you're an idiot and you've done some dumb stuff. But you have none of your family visit you for 14 years? One time. You have one family visit.
Who had showed up to visit?
I would assume his mom. But I
Yeah.
mean, one time, 14 years?
Yeah. Well,
It's rough. So, I mean, it's going to give him a complex where he's like, my family don't love me. My family this, my family that.
right. But it's no excuse for what he's done.
No. But we haven't got to that yet. So, but he was released from prison on January 26, 2008 and got hooked back up with old brother Cecil. That's his little brother Cecil. Cecil worked as a maintenance man at an apartment building and rented the Leicester Street house in Binghamton. So, hanging out with little brother Cecil again. But Jesse and his brother, their relationship always did come with conflict. On January 29th, 3 days after Jesse's release from prison, Jesse, Cecil, and several other men were playing cards at Cecil's home. After the card game, Jesse stood up, put on Cecil's leather jacket, and began to walk out of the house. As Cecil tried to stop him, Jesse drew a semi-automatic pistol and challenged his brother to take the coat back from him. I mean, that's some brotherly love there. That's like some bully stuff too. Like, I'm gonna
Hey,
put it
that's
back.
him though.
Right.
Grew up bullied. Now he's the bully.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this coat, try and take it back. That's crazy. Jesse's on the deep end. Cecil waits for Jesse to leave, jumps in his car, and he ends up following Jesse to the Goodwill Village Apartments in North Memphis, but eventually loses him, which is probably good for both parties involved that day.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, he's already pulled a gun on you, Cecil. Although Cecil reported to police that his brother robbed him and threatened him, Jesse was not charged with the crime.
See, that's what gets me, man. Like all these, and this is all these criminals. Like they can basically do whatever they want until they do something like super terrible to be put away forever. But they give them so many opportunities to, do things and get away with whatever. It's ridiculous.
So that's what's crazy to me is he just got out of prison, and you already have a report.
Yeah, shouldn't that be a violation to get him back in there?
You would think.
Yeah.
I don't know if they just figured it was hearsay, they didn't have proof or whatever, but he's got his jacket,
Right.
so I don't know. For one, why has Jesse got a gun?
He's a felon.
Yeah.
Not allowed to have a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's no crime charge there, so Jesse skates. So whether the stolen jacket remained an issue between Cecil and Jesse, we don't really know. But apparently, they resolved the issue because Jesse had come over to the house on March 1st, 2008 to watch a basketball game with the family, hang out and drink and spend some time with the little brother again. So they must have hashed their differences and figured it all out.
Mm-hmm.
So Jesse Dotson had been out of prison for less than 7 months for the murder of Cox when this happens. So this is the day leading up to the Lester Street murders. So Jesse had stayed all day at Cecil's house, and they had done quite a bit of drinking. So hanging out, drinking.
After those two had just got into it, he's back a little bit later.
Well, I mean, they have a history of not being able to get along. So put that together with all day drinking.
Oh, yeah,
all day
that's
drinking.
Bad. That's a bad mix.
Jesse has semi-automatic weapons.
Yeah.
I mean,
That
probably not a good recipe.
doesn't
No.
sound like the party that we want to have with the prostitutes from Prospect Avenue. But
No.
eventually, Cecil and Jesse, surprise, start arguing.
Shocking.
There's nothing new between them, correct? I mean,
Right.
like I said, there's a history of it. But the arguing goes on into the early morning hours of March 2nd, 2008. And they end up, leaving the house. They're driving around, hanging out. But I mean, they're arguing back and forth. They arrive back at the house at 722 Lester. And Cecil goes towards the couch area where there's a sawed-off shotgun and reaches towards it. Jesse Dotson pulls out his semi-automatic handgun and shot Cecil Dwayne Dotson in the head.
Wow.
Jesus.
He realized
His own brother.
he realized what he had done and knows he doesn't want to go back to prison. So,
Oh, yeah.
but he didn't just shoot him once in the back of the head. He shot him 8 times. But
Yeah,
now,
that's just insane.
now you got witnesses, Jesse. What are you going to do? He then goes after the others in the house, including the children, with 2 handguns, boards, and several knives in an attempt to cover up the shooting. It's just a brutal, brutal murder scene.
So, what's he think? I killed my brother, so now I have to kill everyone here, and nobody's gonna know that
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah, nobody around's gonna hear
leave
the
no
gunshots.
witnesses.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah, idiot.
So when Jesse Dotson leaves the house, he's certain that everybody in the house is dead. He's left no witnesses behind, and that's his intentions. Even the kids, which incredible, man.
Mm-hmm.
These are your nieces and nephews, and I mean, killing your brother's one thing. Wiping out your brother and his entire family
Yeah.
is
Dude, you're talking. What was the youngest?
a couple months. There was
Yeah. That's heartless.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, killing a kid at all is heartless, but killing anyone is heartless. But 2 months, a few months old, that's ridiculous.
So the 2-month-old actually survives, Sanaya.
Oh.
She survived, but the 2-year-old didn't. So, but still, you tried to kill the 2-month-old.
Right. I mean, you killed a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, you're a heartless dude, man.
this guy's sick.
But like I said, he clearly has no regard for his family.
Right.
Right.
I don't know if that was because they didn't come visit him while you're in prison for 14 years or what, but
That doesn't give you an excuse to kill.
there's no excuse at all to.
But
Wipe out.
I'm gonna guess he's
Man,
gonna
woman,
blame it
child.
on being bullied as a kid.
Actually, he's not going to blame it on that. He's going to blame it on the gangster disciples.
Oh,
Huh.
Yeah. Dotson tells police a few days prior to being identified as the killer that it was probably the gangster disciples members, saying his brother Cecil had crossed a few of the other members, and he helped encourage the police's gang violence theory.
that's great and all, but I'm pretty sure the majority of your gangs, they have standards. They don't kill children, women.
There is basically a chain of command with the gangster disciples, to where the only person that can order this action against them, the discipline against somebody, is like the higher ups, and they said there is an instance, like I said, they call it a blackout, where they wipe out the entire family. Now, in order to get a blackout issued, this person has to have really, really pissed one of these members off, basically.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's possible, but at the same time, just crossing, Cecil crossing a normal member isn't going to get it done. They're going to have to go through the chain of command, basically.
Right.
It works just like
a business.
Yeah, like a government. they govern themselves. So, so this pushes the cops towards the gang violence theory. And they're leaning that way until CJ, who was the young boy who survived the attack with the knife blade stuck in his head.
Oh.
A 4-inch knife blade lodged in his head. Basically plays dead in the bathtub to survive.
Wow.
I mean, he was smart enough at 9 years old to play dead. He had defensive wounds on his hands, a knife blade sticking out of his head. I mean, these kids were all tore up pretty bad.
I can't believe he was able to actually do that, to play dead and stay calm. I mean, normally a kid, would be freaking out.
Yeah. I mean, he basically witnessed everybody in the house getting wiped out. You think he would be panicked
right.
But he saved his own life. So,
thank God too.
Absolutely. It saved his life and basically was the reason that they go after Jesse Dotson, because he's the one that gets them away from this gang violence theory, because that's what they're pursuing until he's well enough to tell them that Junior, Uncle Jesse, not the Uncle Jesse from Full House.
It's a good show. And Fuller House.
Yeah. But he's the one that points him in the right direction. So on March 8th, 6 days after the murder, Jesse Dotson confessed to police that he had been arguing with Cecil. And Jesse claims, that he, as his brother reached for a shotgun, he began shooting.
So, basically that gives you the right to kill, the wife, the kids, everybody.
It was his girlfriend.
Or girlfriend, just because you was arguing with your brother?
Well, no.
And he reached for a shotgun?
Yeah. He's thinking, well, he's reaching for a shotgun to shoot me, so I'm going to take him out before he takes me out.
Okay, that's fine. Take him out.
If that's what it was, I mean, who knows? I mean, drinking and fighting between these two brothers was not a good idea.
All day and night.
Well, I'm just saying you don't have to annihilate the whole family because...
Well, his reasoning was he didn't want to go back to prison. Which he should have never been out.
Right, right.
So, Dotson was arrested, charged with 6 counts of first-degree murder. He later recanted his confession, claiming he had been threatened by police into confessing to the crime.
Oh, of course. Of course.
The only problem with that, Jesse, is you were identified.
Right, right. A 9-year-old.
A 9-year-old that you tried to kill. So, despite his pleas of innocence, it took jurors just 90 minutes to convict Dotson of all 6 charges and sentence him to death.
Nice.
Good. He got exactly what he deserved.
Yep.
I can't believe it took 90 minutes. That seems like 89 minutes too long.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Dotson continued to proclaim his innocence, however.
Of course. Of course. It goes back. He's one of those. He's a tough guy. He can do the killing, but he can't take the punishment.
Yeah. The family, I mean, his sister has even gone on record saying that him coming out of prison after the first time, he was never the same person coming out. Like, he just was a different person.
Right.
So, which you probably are.
Right. I mean, but like you said, there should have never been when he came out of prison the first time. He should have never came out. He killed somebody. He should have been, 60 years. Minimum.
Just make sure that I never get you as a judge.
You killed somebody.
Yeah.
Come on. That's the ultimate thing to do.
I mean, you have to look into the fact that he had problems his entire life.
Yeah, right. But you can't use.
No, I'm not giving him
that
an excuse. I'm saying he had issues all the way up until he killed that guy. The drug deal gone bad. You had issues with the law all the way up to that point. So,
right.
I mean, you knew letting him out, he clearly wasn't rehabilitated. And that's the point of prison, correct? To rehabilitate?
Yeah.
And I wonder if he was bullied or the bully while he was in prison.
I would assume he was probably the bully while in prison. I mean, he spent that childhood being bullied, and then it was like something switched, and then he started becoming the bully. So, but prison, they say prison changed him. So,
I mean, not really.
No, I mean,
14 years for murder, you come out and you murder again.
Yeah, in 7 months.
Yeah. But CJ, Cedric, and Sanaya ended up in the maternal grandmother's custody since the attack, and they got their stuff back together, and good for them.
Yeah.
That's the silver lining to this terrible story, is that the 3 kids that survived are being taken care of now. So.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they have their issues.
Oh, I'm sure. Especially the older boy.
Yeah. CJ. But give him credit, man. He's the reason that this case was solved.
He is.
I mean, did he have brain damage or anything from that knife?
No, but I know that they all 3 of them had extensive injuries that they had to, recover from, and they're all doing well. To this day, they're all doing well. So
that's good.
It's the best outcome you can hope for in such a terrible situation.
Yeah. Yep.
God love him. God love him. God hates you, Jesse.
Yes.
Definitely. Definitely.
That is the Leicester Street murders.
That was a tough one.
It is.
I
hate discussing the kid stuff. But you want to get the story out of what can happen with these people that get let out of prison, and
right.
I mean, we talked about it this whole episode. You get put in for something, you got a criminal history, yet we're gonna let you out early.
Dude, every single murder gets
never
out.
Fails.
Every time. I don't get it.
It happens for some reason. So.
There's a lot of them back in like the 80s and stuff where they would get put in prison, but the prison was so overcrowded that they would just start letting people out. Like,
Yeah.
Like, oh, you were good for a week. We're going to give you 3 years of good credit, to get you out. Like, that's stupid.
Yeah. Your criminal justice system, man. I mean, it's,
yeah.
But there's not a whole, I mean, you can argue it both ways. It's a tough thing because you have a lot of cases where some people are wrongfully convicted. I mean, it is a true.
I think there was a guy recently. I think he served. It was like 17 years or something, and they just recently got the evidence and let him out. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Well, these cases now, I mean, where people have served years and years and years, and they get cleared on DNA evidence. And just popped
I think
up.
that's what happened to him.
Yeah, I mean, you can argue it both ways, but to me, if you're in there and you're in there because you have witnesses and there's multiple fingers pointing at you and you have this evidence that guarantees it was you, what are we waiting for, man? Especially with death row inmates.
Right.
What are we waiting for?
Yep.
We're going to let you appeal it, for 20 years?
I mean, they say, it costs more money to put them to death than to house them for life.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't if you, like this guy, Jesse. Why is he on death row? This is since 2008.
Yeah.
He's still on death row. It's
Yes.
2020.
Yes, sir.
Like, why? It's cut and dry.
I did hear it might be Jesse's year, though.
Oh, really?
Did hear 2020 might be Jesse's year.
Nice.
So, but still, 2008, 2020.
12 years.
What are we waiting for?
12 years on death row.
Good math.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He had a calculator.
I was 16 in 8th grade.
Had a calculator. So, but we have a little surprise here, right?
We do.
Gonna bring in a little special guest.
A little special guest, and it's not Rex this time.
No,
Rex
it's
is
not.
no longer a special guest.
Yeah,
He's
that's
not.
right. Yeah.
Rex is our
Part of the crew.
Yeah.
He's part of the crew.
I mean, you always were part of the crew, but now you.
Behind the scenes at first, though.
Yeah. It's because you're ugly. We don't want you on there.
Right. But my voice is
You
sexy.
have a
so.
you have a face for radio.
Jeez. Edward Norton Jr.
That's right.
But let's bring him in.
All right. You ready?
Yep.
So we have the ladies from Death Row Kitchen with us, Nancy and Drew. How are you guys doing?
Hello.
Hello.
So give our listeners a little bit of info on your podcast, what you guys specialize in over there.
Oh, okay. Well, this is Nancy, and we came up with Death Row Kitchen. We both wanted to do a true crime podcast, but couldn't figure out what to do. Everybody else is covered.
Yeah, what's going to be our
Exactly.
shtick.
What's our shtick? And so I was like, well, nobody's ever done Death Row inmates and their last meals, and I love cooking, and this combines me being fat and me talking about crime. Those are my two favorite things.
Yeah.
There you go.
Absolutely.
You can do it with no shame.
Perfect.
Exactly. I get to hang out with Drew, one of my favorite people. So I know.
You
It's a win-win all around.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you guys, do you actually eat the meals that you're going to report on every episode?
Yep, we try to at least make or outsource certain things and try to stay as true to the meal as possible and then eat it. And we'll talk about it. Some of them are kind of cozy.
Some of them are real fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them are real fucked up. Some of them, like Bundy, was super big and extravagant and very narcissistic, which sticks to his personality.
Yeah, and then you have Eileen Warnos, who just had a cup of black coffee.
Yep, and a cigarette.
And a cigarette. Because
Naturally.
Wow. So is it true that Ted Bundy really didn't even touch his last meal, though, even though he ordered an extravagant meal?
I've heard it both ways. I've heard he ate it, and I heard he didn't.
Well, there's definitely a guy that ordered
down in Texas.
like everything, and then didn't touch a single thing, like just as a last fuck you to the world.
Yep.
Wow.
And the taxpayers.
Yes. And now Texas doesn't let you choose your own last meal, so you ruined it for everybody.
There's always one.
Nice.
So, can you come off the top of your head? What is your, so far in your podcast, what is one that really stands out to you? One of your cases that really hits home to you?
Night.
Well, we were really technically correct.
That's true.
I don't know. The one that gets me is episode 8, Joe Arity. He was a young man back in the 1920s who, even though he was in his 20s, he had the mental capacity of a 6-year-old. And even though they already had somebody in custody who confessed to the crime, who was tried for the crime, and who was put on death row and executed for the crime, Joe was as well. Even though he was in a completely different state, he was never really attached to the crime. And he just was a 6-year-old kid, essentially, in a 20-year-old's body, and just had no comprehension of the gas chamber or that the death penalty was even happening. He ordered ice cream as his last meal, which is, of course you would. Like, that's what a 6-year-old wants for dinner.
Right.
Ice cream.
Wow.
Yeah. And then finally, 75 years later, they gave him a full exoneration.
Oh.
But that one, I know, that one gets me every time.
Yeah.
I just, that one has stuck with me this whole time.
I'm a big fan of, I think it was our first episode, actually, Kelly Renee Gissendana. Because she had this piss poor plot to murder her husband, and like she did it, but she took her kids to the circus.
Yep.
Like when he died,
Yeah.
Which is like, why your husband just died? Why would you take your kids to the circus? That's fucked up. And then in between the funeral and going into the cemetery, she went to fucking Cracker Barrel, like for lunch. So
Wow.
just
I mean, they got some damn good chicken and dumplings.
They do. Country fried steak is banging.
oh yeah, it's just so I like the ones that are just like really wackadoodle because people think that they're the smartest people in the room, and like, no, you're ridiculous.
Oh yeah,
you're ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That Joe Arity one you guys did, that one stuck with me. I listened to it a long time ago.
Right?
I
I got choked up when we recorded it. It just has really stuck with me.
Yeah,
well, and especially like contemporary things that we can relate it to, like Brendan Dassey, what's his name, Joey Misskelley from the West Memphis 3 trial, and like you see the cops just taking advantage of people who are super vulnerable and making them even think that they did it.
Yeah.
Which is fucked up.
Which we kind of talked about a little bit of wrongful conviction today. So that's
okay.
It's crazy.
I can't wait to listen to that one.
Are you guys going to cover the one that just happened
who was
on?
the most dangerous prisoner? I liked that one.
Silverstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Silverstein. That's it.
Silverstein.
Yeah. I liked him.
He's literally, if you Google him, he comes up.
Yeah, the family's really fucked up. The Blair family, like, all of you are nuts.
Yeah.
I just saw it a couple of times to get all the names.
Yeah. Like your whole family
killing food now. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So, well, I mean, moving forward, we're gonna be doing an episode together. So
yes,
that's gonna be pretty awesome.
For it.
Yeah, pumped.
It's gonna be a great time, interesting topic, pretty solid last meal. If I do say so.
Awesome.
Nice.
So, anybody listening, please go over, check these ladies out. They do an awesome job.
Thank you. Right back at you. We love listening to you guys.
Thanks.
We want to make sure everybody, where's the best place for them to listen to your podcast at?
Oh, we're on Stitcher, Apple Podcast / iTunes, whatever they call it now. We're on Podbean and SoundCloud. So any of those platforms. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Find us pretty much anywhere.
Awesome. So make sure you guys check them out. They're awesome. They do an awesome podcast. They're like us, like to have a little fun when we're talking about some of the worst things that we could possibly imagine. So we click pretty well with you guys. So we're looking forward to this episode coming up.
Yes, and then for our podcast, we'd like to ask you, what would your gentleman's last meals be?
And then you also have to say what's the method of execution?
Yeah, you always want to know how you want to die.
Well, Dustin, you go ahead with this one first.
Oh, geez.
Oh, geez.
His favorite phrase.
My favorite food is meatloaf. So that would have to be mine. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I know.
So, in my method, gas chamber, for sure.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it short? Yeah, that creeps me out though.
Yeah.
But okay, solid choice.
Yeah.
I just want to pass out.
Lethal injection. They crush that all the time.
No, I just want to pass out.
I'm going to go with...
That's fair. That's fair. Good enough.
Yeah, I have to go with... I want the steak from... Great Outdoors with... was it John Candy and... Aykroyd, where he ate the 76er.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going with a big ass steak, and I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take the sissy way out. I want the lethal injection. I don't want to feel nothing, man.
Well, I guess me.
Let's just hope they don't fuck it up.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah, miss a vein, 'cause that sucks.
I guess I'll just go.
God.
I'm trying to think what I would want. I guess maybe just an extra large pizza with everything on it.
Okay.
And
what would you have on it, though?
What would I have on it?
What are your preferred pizza toppings?
Oh, everything. Like, I eat everything, so they can just throw it all on there. Anchovies, the works.
So you just want trash pizza.
Exactly. Yep. Garbage pizza.
Yes.
And I'll go by electrocution.
What?
Ooh, riding the lightning.
Yeah, Ride the Lightning, Metallica.
The most painful. No, thank you.
That's well.
I know, like they set people on fire with that shit.
Yeah.
Such diversity. I know we got a little bit of everything here.
Wow. That's good.
Yeah, I'm crazy like that.
Alrighty, well,
All right, solid.
thanks for joining us today, ladies. We look forward to our episode with you here coming up. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
alrighty.
All right, you gentlemen, have a great afternoon.
Yeah,
too.
thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
Yep, thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye. Bye.
All right, guys. So thanks for listening to Evil Mob. That was the ladies from Death Row Kitchen. Be sure to give them a listen. We hope you enjoy. And
Rate and review us on iTunes.
absolutely email.
Yep, email.
We're going to give you the email address because we never do. We are at eviltransgression@gmail.com. You can find it in the links in the description of each episode, but it is eviltransgression@gmail.com. If you have any comments, concerns, questions, or just want to say,
Ideas.
hey, tell Dustin to shut up when you guys are recording.
Yeah, that would help.
But
That would. If you
Less-
got any
less
ideas,
editing.
if you got any ideas on future cases, let us know.
yeah, we have a couple that have been recommended that we're going to definitely get
Get the ball rolling.
the ball
Yeah.
rolling on and
Yep.
Yes.
get them into the mix of things. So make sure you rate, review, like Dustin said. That helps us out a lot. Help us grow. So other than that, gentlemen,
I think that's it.
I'm good.
awesome. We'll see you next week. Evil Mob.
Alrighty.
All right, see ya.
See ya.
Peace.